Hey, welcome to this practice, which is all about your movement why. I will be sharing with you a practice that builds on some of the modalities of my movement why, what I incorporate into my everyday, and what works for me, at least the ones that relate to my mat. What I would like you to do as part of this process, this practice, before, after, whatever it might be, is consider your movement why. Now, for me, it's not just about my physical health. Yes, that awareness that we only have one body, and I exercise certainly more at this point in my life for my older years than I do for me right now. For the most part, I want to know that I'm heading into phase 2 of my life as I approach midlife and retirement and watching my daughter grow up, maybe having grandchildren and all those things, that I still have all these things that I want to do, and looking after my body seems to be a really key part of that to achieving it. It sounds like a no-brainer, right? But it's not something that we necessarily think about in our everyday. When we think about the future, we think about retirement and what getting older means. It's not necessarily been the narrative that we should be putting this amount of effort into our physical health, because there's always been this acceptance that, oh, we're this age and therefore we're not meant to be able to do those things. And I don't buy into that at all. I think there is also, because of the internet and social media, think what you like about them, but you do see examples of where those norms have been broken, and you see evidence that actually that it doesn't have to be that way. But my other why is around my general well-being. So I notice quite significantly when I don't move as much, or probably more specifically when I don't move at all, even if it's for a few days or maybe even a week, I'll start to notice that I maybe feel a little bit less confident in how I carry myself, or I'll be a little bit more critical of myself. And nothing much will have changed, certainly in that space of time. But it's something that definitely boosts my endorphins and how I carry myself. So it's really, really important for my overall well-being as well. So those are my whys. And I wonder what yours are. Some people have specific sports goals. Some of you might be bringing things in from childhood, but this is, part of you, and it might just be that you're doing it because it's good for you, and that's absolutely fine. We are all different. But these are a huge part of my values, and probably the biggest one, which I haven't mentioned, is around how we manage stress and the impact of the things that happen to us, whether it's big trauma or small trauma. Being able to manage that is very heavily focused around our physical and mental well-being, and our resilience, of course. So now I'm going to share a practice with you. It's made up of 4 things. So there's an element of mobility, an element of yoga flow, maybe combined with a little bit of shred to get some cardiovascular stuff going on there. But then we're just going to climb down a bit and just work with some regulation of breath work. You might call it meditation, but I don't like to start off with that. I like to do it when we're moving and transitioning, and then into a little bit of stillness. It doesn't have to look like anything in particular. I could do a yin practice, could just do shavasana, but we're going to do this together now. So join me at the top of the mat. I'm going to pick some of my favorites. So for those of you that have practiced with me, you might recognize some of it, and that's absolutely fine. And if you want to adapt any of it for you along the way, go for it, please. All of these elements. So mobility has come late to the party for me. It's not something I'm not aware of or I've never been aware of. I've just never really thought about it as a specific thing on its own until about 18 months ago. And I'm so glad that I do. If I do nothing else in a day, it's a core set of mobility exercises rather than yoga or anything else. Right, let's go. So root the feet into the mat, draw the arms up, cactus the arms, lift the chest. So just breathe in, lift up, exhale, and then extend a little bit. You might play With balance, if we just circle the arms back down and around, just take a moment to prepare, lift the heels, slowly release down, including balance as part of your mobility or your flow practices, doesn't really matter what, is a really key part of helping the body, especially as you age. Let's draw it all the way up, fold it forwards, and just take a moment to release here into this forward fold. Just check in with this back line of the body, this super important all over here, all the way down over to the crown of the head. Helps us stand up tall. There's a lot we notice when we fold forwards. Find your halfway lift, so lift the belly, extend through the spine, roll the shoulders back, lift the gaze, release it down. We're going to do 2 more just like that. So inhale, find that softness on the release, and then find the control and that extension. From here, bend the knees, find a small chair moment, and then find a flying halfway lift. I think this is actually my favorite mobility sequence that I have done over time and shared many times, including in this series. Heel toe the feet a little bit wider, come down into a traveling yoga squat to incorporate some spinal twists. It's almost like a little best of practice. And then through into some hip dips. We're just going to do 3 of these. So when I do these of a day, I tend to do up to 8. Coming down onto the bottom. Take a seated cat-cow. So draw the chest, lift the gaze. And then exhale, round out and extend, dropping the chin to the chest. From here, cross over the ankles and come up onto the knees, tuck the toes. Let's find these camel waves and these spinal twists. So arms come away behind you, drop and tilt as you sweep the arms up and round. So hips drawing back towards the heels. As you exhale, tilt the pelvis, hug into the belly. Use the breath. If you remember that kind of connected breath we did when we explored the Stay Lit guidepost. Hugging in and up from the pelvis, finding that control and that line through the center. This time opening out to the side. Let's work into the twists and then finding your way to the other side. Maybe on this one, you might find a little bit more extension, dropping the hand to the heel, and maybe try the opposite side as well. And then from here, we're going to step it straight back into a downward facing dog. We're going to find some plank waves, so a little bit of softness through the knees, and then find that rotation. I love these. These help us find our foundation and just find that kind of flow and rhythm that we can find with the body that helps us get really mindful. Just work to your breath rhythm. And this time I'm going to come all the way up and over, extend out, connected plank shape, drop the knees, cross the ankles. Maybe you might keep the feet closer to the mat than me. Soften the elbows, pause here for a moment, pelvis first, release down. Fingertips come out to the sides and just rock the hips from side to side. Inhale, create some space. Exhale, roll up. Take a breath. Release back down. So playful cobra waves. Really great way to build up space over time. And then reframe the hands underneath the shoulders. From here, you can either tuck the toes and come back through the knees, or you might like to come back, lifting the hips, stepping one foot over and then the other. I'm going to take the right leg to the sky. I'm going to open out into this kind of scorpion tail, hip opening shape, which I really, really enjoy. And then sweep the knee in and round, step it forwards and rock back and forwards, making sure you've got space to move. Lift the belly, wave the spine long, soften that back knee for balance. Lifting up. From here, inhale, wave long through the spine, exhale, fist of fire. It was this type of flow practice that gave me consistency to explore all the other modalities, breath work, meditation, mobility, kind of shred, hit, cardiovascular type stuff. With consistency, like I said, before I dabbled in all sorts. Okay, we're gonna have some shred moments here before we swing back round into our flow. Just finding yourself into this temple shape, toes pointed towards the corners of the mat, hips coming out a little bit, and just draw up long through the spine, and then exhale, drawing the fists to the hips as you bend the knees and send the hips back. This is what we're going to do. We're going to do it for 20 seconds on, and then just rest here with bent knees in this shape, and maybe have a little bounce. If you want to release off in between, you can just straighten the legs a little bit. That works too. So set yourself up to prepare, and off we go. And just keeping it a little bit structured. It may not seem particularly excessive, but we want to find form first before we find speed. And you'll eventually see that you get a little bit warmer as you go and your heart starts pumping. 3, 2, 1. Now I'm going to stay here for 10 seconds with a little pulse. I might take a longer breath in between to help regulate my body. Get ready for round 2. Now I can go a little bit quicker. Now I know my form and how I'm working with that today. And 3, 2, 1, hold it there. Again, another 10-second bounce or lengthen out the legs. Don't know about you, but I'm definitely a little bit warmer. And then lift and release, turn the heels out and pour it down. And we're just going to do a couple of these shred moments today just to elevate. Remember, this is a little bit of a medley of the things that help me on the mat, that you might have practiced with me before, that might be quite new to you and you want to explore. It doesn't really matter. And come traveling back round, plant the hands, step it back, downward facing dog. Okay, this time take the left leg to the sky, open out, just as you did on the last side, finding the scorpion tail, opening up the left hip, and then sweep it in and round, lift, and step it forwards. Extend through the spine, soften the back knee, and rising up. So we're combining flow with a little bit more fast pace in the body. Inhale, reach, extend long through the legs. Exhale, soften. And 2. And 1. Okay, from here, I'm going to draw the arms forward and just step it up to standing. I'm going to come through one more shred round before we change direction again a little bit. But in this chair shape, remember we did this kind of flying halfway lift. Well, now we're going to be here and we're going to draw the fists to the hips again. So there's a theme here. I like this. I'm big on empowerment. It works for me. So this is what we're going to do for 20 seconds. With that 10-second break in between, you can stay down here like we did when we did the temples, or you can lift and just move about for 10 seconds. See what works for you. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. And again, work on form first. And these movements are designed to be low impact on the joints compared to kind of traditional HIIT workouts. So it's based on our yoga practice. Using the breath with that physical exertion. And 3, 2, 1. Hold it there. You could choose to bounce too. That's up to you. I'm holding steady for a little bit of core work and strength work in the spine. 3, 2, 1 more round. And then we'll move on. And 2, 1, pause. I'm going to take a little bounce this time. And release. Take a breath in here. Pause. And let's see if we can regulate. Breath into the belly. Slow release out. Soften the knees. Draw up. Release all the way down. Find a halfway lift. Release, step it back. Downward facing dog. Pausing here just for a moment. Finding your foundation, coming back through into those waves. That transitional moving flow. And then from here, put the knees down, untuck the toes, just take the left leg away behind you, sweep it in and around, step it forwards. So we're just, again, finding some space. You can plant that right hand down, you can just draw the arm behind you, working in the spine. You might choose to open out through the hip here, or you might like to catch hold of that back foot and open into the shape, opening the chest, open the gaze towards the sky maybe, or the gaze might be towards the floor. Heel toe that foot back in, sweep that leg back. Again, you might choose to anchor out. Coming to the opposite side. And bringing the hands inside of that front foot. And just as you did a minute ago, create some movement, open, taking the arm behind you, rotating the shoulder back, opening the chest. You might lift the foot here, catch hold of it, and then just draw that right knee out. Or you might just leave the foot down and allow the hip to open. We worked into that kind of shred temple shape. That's warmed the gateway of the hips quite a lot. Release down. The hips is an area I like to work with. Very important for my physiology, or my back line as well. Super important for that. Coming back up into this downward facing dog here. And just walking to step it back up. Finding a moment of release here. Taking a breath on an inhale, softening and rising. Sweeping the arms high and release all the way down. So I'd like to take a little moment before we slow things down, just to come into a slightly different transition of movement. We talked about balance. I think balance is really, really important to work on stabilization in the body. There are some days when I do things that I absolutely adore and it just doesn't happen, which gives me a bit of insight as to my stress levels or something like that. But overall, I love balance. Not everybody does. The more we practice, the more we learn. But here we are. So we're going to work with that kind of tree shape, but we're going to do it slightly differently. We'll come into something more static in just a moment. But for now, I just want you to soften the knees and just draw this right knee up and work on circling. And the thing I really liked when I came into learning the practice of yoga movement was that kind of seed into movement, a development of the progress of where it was going. Not necessarily to do the hardest thing, but just to have perspective So just draw that right knee up now. Call that waving tree. So you might bring the arms into it. You might make it even more expressive than me. And just see, oops, if you've got a sofa in the way like I have, it might knock you off balance. Sometimes we forget what is there. Then we're going to find our moment to pause, whether your foot is closer to the floor or further up, finding something that works for you, that works for your body. Find that connection between the thigh and the foot to create that kind of structure that we want, and then find something to do. I love to incorporate movement with this shape to demonstrate how I feel about my balance in that day, rather than just stand fixed and still, but both have value in different ways. Take a breath, lift and release. Sometimes I like to do it to challenge myself. What can I do balanced whilst there's still other things going on? Let's try it the other side. Soften, draw up and create some movement. Much like now, the weather is wild outside. The wind is even more wild and the trees are blowing. And they are deeply rooted, but they move. And the only time they're super still is when there's no wind. So I always think it's madness that we always just try and do this still tree pose. Because actually the movement is what gives us the most information. Traveling into your stillness now, or your momentary stillness, whatever you want to do. Noticing any differences between one side and the other. Taking a few breaths and then finding your way with control out of that. Stepping the feet nice and wide for a moment as we come into a small ninja lunge moment. Just to decompress from the movement, a structure of some opening and lubricating of the body into a little bit more flow and energy type movements, and allowing the body to open up, getting the heart pumping, finding balance, all of those elements incorporated in what this series is all about, the ingredients to being wholehearted, and certainly a lot of the ingredients into my movement wise. Okay, we're going to heel toe the feet together and come down. So you can choose if you are going to sit like me, sit on a cushion, sit on, I'm going to grab my shirt because I will start to cool down after that movement. I don't match, but I'm warm. You could be sat on your knees for this. We're just going to take 10 cycles of breath. So I want us to work on decompressing for a moment and bringing ourselves into this rest and digest function so that we can find stillness. I often think we're trying to move too quickly from something really fast into something completely still. And where we have the opportunity and the time to do so, we can take our time with that so that when we don't have the time, we can get there really quickly and really effectively. So you might close down the eyes, or you might just take the gaze to the floor. And we're going to breathe into the belly. And then we're going to slowly sigh it out. You might like to count. You might like to sigh. And this isn't about over-focusing or thinking about nothing. But allowing the body the opportunity, when you have the gift of time, to decompress, to slow down. Helps us turn the tap on to release some of the tension that is stored. and then release that with some waves of the spine. We're going to come into a longer held shape now before we transition into a very small Shavasana relaxation type thing. And it is going to be a child's pose, but you get to choose how you want that to go. So for me, I'm happy with something a little bit more active. Showed a supported child's pose with yesterday's practice, which is really, really lovely to kind of just close in a little bit and be supported and come into yourself. But if I want to find a little bit more extension in my spine, I'm going to take the knees wide. If I want to find flexion and really cocoon in, I'm going to do something more traditional, maybe put my arms down by my sides. But today, I'm going to choose to continue that journey into the hips that I've done within this particular practice. I'm not going to overstretch my arms. I'm just going to rest my head on the mat, allow my fingertips to touch, and continue that regulation of breath to find a place of stillness within this shape in my body, where I'm working into the hips, into the front of the body, maybe the digestive system a little bit, not so much here with the knees wide. Working a small amount of extension, just allowing myself the gift of time to let the body process, to rehydrate soft tissues and fascia, and all the things that don't necessarily happen whilst we're moving, whether it's mobility or yoga flow or something else. And this might not be passive for you, this might be your biggest challenge, and that's okay. From here, for this short amount of time that we are together today, we're going to walk the hands back with a little bit of movement and transition into a very small Shavasana so that we can bring ourselves back round to this question about our movement why. I'm going to rest my head onto a cushion for this one. So in here, in the shape, whatever shape you've chosen to come into, whatever side of the body, front, side, back, with whatever support. I would love for you to consider thank you, Puss. Your movement why. Why you show up, whether it's on the mat or in the gym. What does it help you with? What does it gift you? Does it fuel you? Does it light you up? All of those things. And just consider your commitment to that. And whatever your movement why is, just come back into that investment that we have one body and we should absolutely use it wisely. Find that element of gratitude, honor it when it tells us to do so and when it doesn't, and keep showing up. while I have acquired a visitor here. We are going to come out of this together. So just take any small amount of movement. Yeah, that includes you. Find your way back up into some kind of easy seat, whatever that looks like for you. Thank you for joining me for this practice, a medley of a variety of different things that I like to do that support me, that definitely give me a boost and have made me consistent in my practice and the things that I want to achieve. Take care, and I will see you next time.